Hi everyone, I'm Kat and welcome to my channel, Naturally Beautiful Girl. One of the very early clean makeup brands that and skincare and now hair care and body care and everything else that I discovered was Root Cosmetics. And one of the reasons that I think a lot of people end up discovering Root and, being curious about Root is that it is one of the more affordable brands, and they really are committed to having clean ingredients. They're very conscious about their sourcing of ingredients, and everything is cruelty-free. I think almost everything is vegan. I'm not sure if everything is vegan, but a lot of their products are vegan as well. And it's just a brand that really is quite well known in the clean beauty space. However, they're not sold at major retailers. So Root is only sold through root.com. They have a couple stores in the Midwest. I believe they're founded in Iowa, and there's like a few stores kind of in that area of the country. But other than that, you really can only purchase things online. Most of the makeup from Root started out being loose powders, and then they did have some pressed eyeshadows. And at that time when Root started, that was kind of like what clean beauty looked like. But I feel like Root, especially recently, has really been growing and evolving as a brand and releasing a lot of new products and really expanding their line and including more things like cream products, cream blushes, cream highlighters, and just really kind of growing the brand. And as I've seen these new products being released, it's kind of like re-sparked an interest in Root for me. I always have liked Root and I always have respected Root a lot. It's just kind of where my style of makeup evolved to. I just didn't feel like Root was quite where I was at. But now with a lot of these new products coming out, I feel like re-interested in the brand. In fact, I'm actually thinking about, they have like a fall box, and I'm thinking about subscribing to that box and maybe doing like an unboxing for you guys. So let me know if you're interested in me doing that. But I did pick up some new products from Root recently, and I wanted to just kind of like sit down, show you me using them, and give you my thoughts. It's kind of like a review / get ready with me. It's just a little bit more casual, but I just thought this would be a great way for me to show you some of the products I've been trying out and share with you my thoughts. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, be sure to stay tuned. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell button so you don't miss out on any of my other clean beauty content. And also check me out on Instagram. I'm at naturallybeautifulgirlkat to see more of me there. And I apologize if the lighting is not great. It literally, the sky just like turned black and it started raining right as I sat down to film. But we are where we are. So let's go ahead and jump right in. For quite a while, they did have this product called the Pretty Booster, but they came out, I'm shaking it up here. They came out with an expanded range of the product, and it's now called the Pretty Booster Plus. I checked on their website and they do have 12 shades. It's not huge, but considering that the product itself is a pretty sheer product, that definitely gives a lot of flexibility with the shade range of this product. And also one of the things I've seen Krista mention many times is like, if you cannot find your proper complexion shade in their products, and I know she's been really great about doing this with her powder foundation, to let her know and she will try and help like formulate a shade that will work for you, because she really does want everyone to have their shade in products. So Krista's the founder, by the way, of Root. The shade range could be bigger, but I also do think there's quite a bit of flexibility. I have the lightest shade, which is the shade Fair, it's shade 1, and I'm going to go ahead and apply this today. This is kind of like a very lightly tinted foundation. It really doesn't provide a lot of coverage. One thing I have discovered while trying this out is that even though it seems like the type of product that would work well to apply with your fingers, for some reason, I find that it can get a little streaky. My hair is getting stuck. This always happens to me. I find it can get a little streaky when I apply it using my fingers, and I just find that I get a much better application using a brush. This really is not going to give you much coverage at all. It's basically just going to even out your skin tone. Like, that's pretty much all you're going to get. You're still going to see the breakouts that I have. You're still going to see the red spot, but it's just going to help my skin tone look a bit more even. But I have really been enjoying this product because it's really nice for those like no makeup days where you do want to just kind of even out your skin tone, but you don't actually want to look like you're wearing foundation. And this is a good product for that. If you're expecting really high levels of coverage, this just isn't going to give that to you. that is what it is. You kind of have to go into this product knowing what it is. To me, it's very similar in coverage to if I were using like a powder foundation. I think this could be good if you have dry skin and you don't want to use a powder foundation, but you want that like very sheer light level coverage. But it to me, it kind of works similarly to that. Let's put a little bit more on my nose because my nose is all red. A little bit more on my cheeks too. You can build this up a little bit, but it's not going to build up that much. There's definitely a hard limit to how much coverage you can get from this product. So here's what it looks like on my face. I find that it's a very nice kind of skin-like finish, and it just looks really, really natural. I will go ahead and set this with my Clove and Hallow Powder Foundation, but I find even with my oily skin that it does wear very well on me. Granted, I think products that are more sheer like this give you a little bit more flexibility with wear, because if it does start breaking apart a little bit, because it's so sheer, it's not going to be as obvious as if like a more full coverage foundation starts breaking apart. So I do like it, and I reach for it when my skin is doing well. To be honest, when I was sitting down to film this video, I was hoping my skin would be a little clearer. My skin was like really great for a while and I wasn't having many breakouts, but recently I've been having a few more. I don't know, it's probably because I've been eating too many sweets. I was on the Cape, I was wearing sunscreen. Like, I don't know exactly what the problem is, but right now my face is a little angry, so it's not the best time for this foundation. But I think if you want something like very, very light coverage, but you don't necessarily want a powder, this is a good option. And it dries down. I use a little bit of powder foundation because my skin is super oily, but I think if you have drier skin, you could just go like this. Like, I'm touching my face and the product is dried down. It's not like sliding around, moving around. So there really isn't a need to set it, but with oily skin, I set everything. Okay, I'm gonna pop off camera for a second, apply some concealer, and then we will talk about some more Root products. Next up, we're gonna talk about one of the Root Pretty Paints. And I've talked about these before on my channel, but I did pick up a new shade. I picked up the shade Katelynn, which I really like. It's a much lighter shade. It's a very cool toned pink, but I just find that this is really flattering on my skin tone. It's like a barely there kind of shade. I don't know. I really like it. I talked about the Root cream blushes in a recent video where I was sharing some of my favorite blushes that are more affordable. I will link that video up above, but I feel like these are just a really solid formula, and I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on them, and I was kind of sleeping on them too, but they've really increased their shade range of these blushes. That's one thing Root does have, is a lot of shade options, and when these first came out, they only released like a couple shades, which makes sense. But now that they've become more popular, they've really expanded that range. So I feel like it's a good way to find a really nice, high quality cream blush, and that is still more affordable. So I'm gonna take this and apply it using a stipple brush. I've been using stipple brushes to apply cream products recently. I don't know, I just like how it works. And I feel like it works really well, especially with the Root Pretty Booster Plus, because it just gives like a really nice little hint of, you know, of color to the cheeks, but it's not too much. And obviously this shade Katelynn is not going to work for everyone. Like, I have super fair skin and I know that this is not going to be like a universal shade, but I just really like it on my skin tone. But I really feel like there are a lot of options, a lot of good shade options, regardless of what your skin tone is. I just find this cream blush to be one that's like a nice level of pigmentation. It's buildable, it's blendable, it's not too slippery, it's not too oily, it's not too stiff, and also it does stay in place quite well, even with the summer heat. Though we are sadly approaching the end of summer now, and it is starting to get a little cooler, which, I mean, is nice. It was really hot all summer, but yeah. It's also the end of summer, which is sad. I do really recommend these cream blushes. That's why I picked up another shade of them. I really like them. I also really like the packaging. It's just very slim, very minimal. It fits. They have this palette. Let's see, I actually have this here. Although it's funny because I like barely, I don't know, I haven't been that into single pan eyeshadows, so I haven't used this palette that much. But they do have this really nice like palette. You can put your blushes and your cream products down in the bottom here, and then up in the top you can put eyeshadows. So it's a really nice palette if you're looking for a way to store products like this. I find that this is really nice, and it's just really pretty. I mean, I'm wearing a tie-dye shirt, like this fits in with the theme. That's another thing about Root. they really have redone their packaging recently and have tried to make it more refillable, more sustainable with glass packaging, which also really kind of re-inspired me to think about the brand and look more into it and try new products from them. Okay, speaking of glass packaging, I'm now going to set my under eyes using the Root Super Matte Setting Powder. So they had an original setting powder and then they came out with this one, which is the super matte version. I have it in their new glass packaging. To be honest, it's a little messy. Like, we all know how I feel about locking sifter. This has, you kind of shake it out into the cap, but the problem, as you can see here, sometimes the powder just gets like loose into the top of the product. It's not like one of those mesh things. Let me see. I'm pulling out my Honest Beauty setting powder here that has like one of these mesh things, and then it has this cap to keep it from getting loose. I prefer this to what they have in the Root packaging, but it's also glass and refillable, and they sell refills of all their powder products now in little compostable baggies, which is really nice. So I do appreciate what they're doing. It's just, it can get a little messy as you saw, but I am gonna go ahead and set under my eyes. As I mentioned before, I have really oily skin. I don't know why it's quite so oily as it is, but it's like uber oily. And I had found that the original Root setting powder just did not set things enough for me. Like, it just did not set. Like, when I would touch my face where I'd put the setting powder, it would still feel tacky. Everything would crease and move around. It just wasn't good. And that's why I wanted to try out this the matte, super matte setting powder. I was like, okay, I feel like this could address my concerns with the original powder and just be more matte. And it certainly is. And it does a much better job of preventing creasing, especially like on my under eyes. However, it's still not quite as good as my 14E setting powder or the Honest Beauty setting powder. Those just work better on me. I'm wearing my current favorite concealer, which is the Saint Cosmetics concealer. And that one, when I set it with like the 14E or the Honest Beauty, like it really doesn't budge. Like, it stays in place super well. This one, because I am using the Root setting powder today, it is going to crease on me at some point. It's a lot better than a lot of other setting powders, and it's also a lot better than the original Root setting powder, but it's still just not quite enough for me. I think if you have a little bit less oily skin or just like under eyes that are less prone to creasing, this is a good option. I certainly think it's a lot better than the original setting powder. However, it's still just not quite up to the level where I need it. Also, I should mention too, this doesn't really deepen under my eyes. It also doesn't white cast me, but I also have like super fair skin. So I don't know if you would have a problem with this powder white casting you if you have a deeper skin tone, because the powder is very white. Okay, so I remember when I sat down and filmed my last like Root video, when I was talking about the Root Pretty Paint eyeshadows and cream blushes, I was like, we need a cream highlighter. And lo and behold, they came out with one. I have the shade Katherine. At this point, this is the only shade of the cream highlighter that they have. And the reason I was like, we need a cream highlighter is because the Root highlighter, especially in the shade like white gold, is kind of like one of those OG Clean Beauty classic highlighters. It was the one that everyone had, everyone was talking about, and it was just beautiful. And I was like, if we could translate that into a cream highlighter, that would be amazing. We do have this shade here, which is Katherine. And I was a little bit nervous about this when I picked it up because it's a very pink highlighter, that it would be too deep for my skin tone. And it in fact is. I can't just use it on my cheekbones. To be really honest, this is almost like a blush shade for me. I really could use a more like white gold type highlighter. With the pink base to it, you can see it on my hand. Like, yes, it does catch the light and does give a really nice glow, but just as a highlighter, it's not quite right. What I'm going to do to show it to you is I'm going to use it more kind of as like a blush topper and put it kind of over the blush that I already put down. However, I think if you have a little bit of a deeper skin tone, this can be really pretty as a highlighter, but just me and my skin tone on its own, it's not quite right. So Root, I'm still waiting for like the white gold highlighter in a cream form, or just a little bit more of like a white based cream highlighter with like silver. Actually, I'd love like I really would like a RMS Living Luminizer basically in a highlighter, like a white based highlighter, like the base being white with a little bit of like cool toned kind of silvery reflect, oh, that would be beautiful. But still waiting. And also, like I said, given the fact that like the blush shades have expanded, the eyeshadow shades are expanding, I think we will see more shades of the highlighter, but right now this is all we've got. So I'm patiently waiting. So I'm just gonna dab this onto my cheeks. I'm not going fully up on my cheekbone. It is going to look a bit funny if I do that. I'm just kind of using it a bit as a blush topper. Do you guys remember that? Like back in old YouTube days when everyone was talking about blush toppers? I feel like no one talks about that anymore. So I think you can see, like, it gave me a really nice shine. I just don't like getting it all the way up on my cheekbone. I just don't think it looks the best. But let me tell you, when they come out with more shades and there's one that looks like is a good shade match for me, I will be running out and buying it, because what I really like about this formula, and I realized this with cream highlighters, is some of them are like a little bit too creamy and too oily. And this one is like just stiff enough where it's not like moving products around underneath it. In terms of like application and wearability, this checks all the boxes, but it's just the shade is not quite what I'm looking for with my skin tone in a highlighter illuminator. So, okay, so the final root product we're gonna be talking about in this video is eyeshadow. And we're gonna be talking about their Pretty Paint eyeshadows. I have 3 of them. So I'm first gonna start by saying I have 2 that basically I got as like a gift with purchase before they were officially released. And I believe that since these have come out, that the formula of these has actually been modified, because they're not the best. Like, they're very, very, I'm trying to show you without making a huge mess, but they're very crumbly and they just get everywhere. There's like fallout everywhere. There's a reason why my palette is just like, I don't know, hopefully it's focusing. Yeah, you can see there's just like eyeshadow everywhere. I don't like it. Like, I like a lot of cream eyeshadow products, but these ones are just not it. I've not tried since they've kind of reformulated them. But honestly, I would be a little skeptical too. And those are very glittery, shimmery eyeshadows. Those are the shades, Tracy and Callie. However, I did pick up one of their newer eyeshadows, and this one is the shade Jessica. And this one is more just like, it's not glittery. It's almost, I mean, it's got like a little bit of a sheen to it, but it's almost more like a matte shade. And to me, it reminds me a lot of the cream blush formula. I mean, obviously you could use the Pretty Paints like wherever you wanted. Like, we could use, actually I might do that. We could use the Illuminator. We could use the blush on the lids. We could use, you know, it kind of is a multi-use product. And in fact, I may actually do that. But this one is a little stiffer in consistency than either the blush or illuminator. And I think the reason for that is to really help the eyeshadow stay in place, because we all know cream eyeshadows tend to crease and walk around a bit. This one definitely does crease on me. I do wear it on top of my Aaron's Faces eye primer. I swear by that eye primer. I recommend it all the time, but I have oily hooded eyelids, and that eye primer, more than any other eye primer I've tried in clean or conventional beauty, has actually made a difference in my eyeshadows staying in place, not creasing, and just my eyelids not getting as oily. So I actually layer cream eyeshadows or liquid eyeshadows on top of it all the time, because it really is such a good base. I use it for powder eyeshadows as well. We are going to use this shade today. I'm going to be focusing it mostly in my crease, because this shade, I told you the name, right? It is Jessica. It's kind of it's a very cool tone shade. I've got a swatch right here. It's not the type of shade I typically reach for, but you know, I do like trying it out. The consistency is much stiffer than the cream blush. And I do, like I said, I do think that is to help the eyeshadow stay in place. So I'm just gonna blend a little bit of this in my crease here. I'm using my finger. Sometimes I do wonder if a brush would be easier, but I don't have a good brush for blending cream eyeshadows. If you know of any, let me know. I keep actually meaning to use this shade as a blush, just because I actually really like the shade and think it would be a pretty blush shade. But you can see it just kind of in my eyelids. It gives a nice wash of color. It's interesting to see like a more matte cream shadow. I think it's really cool if you're interested in something like that. I think this is a much better formula than the more metallic ones. Granted, not tried the metallic one since they've reformulated. If you have, let us know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are. But I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly finish up this look, and then I'll jump back and kind of wrap up here. All right, so throwing on a little bit of shadow on my lid, some mascara, and some lip gloss. So I just wanted to kind of wrap up and share with you my thoughts on these products. I do really like the Root Pretty Booster Plus. I think if you're looking for a very lightweight sheer foundation that's really just going to even out your skin tone and that's about it, I think that's a great option. Like I said, I really love the finish of it. I think it wears really well. And I think it's a good product. However, you just need to keep in mind that it is very sheer, very lightweight, and that's kind of what you're getting when you use that product. I really like their Pretty Paint Cream blushes. I think they're a lovely product. They can also be used on the lips. I didn't use the shade Katelynn on my lips because it's a little bit too light actually for me on my lips. It just kind of washes me out. It's not a good look. They are a really nice multi-use product, and I definitely think for the price that they are a great option. The Illuminator, the formula of it is very, very good. However, the shade is just not my favorite. I could stand to have a little bit lighter shade, but I do think it's a really pretty product and it does work well as a nice cheek topper or a blush topper. The eyeshadows, the Cloud Cream eyeshadows are a little bit hit or miss for me. This more matte version in the shade Jessica is a lot better to me than the more metallic ones. Like I said, I don't know what the reformulated metallic ones are like, but if you were to try one out, I recommend this. This is honestly a very unique product. Like I said, it's very unique to see a more matte cream eyeshadow formula, and I'm excited for them to release some more shades. This one is kind of a little bit more cool toned. I'd love to see a warm toned version of the shadow. I think that could be really pretty. The setting powder is nice. It's just not my favorite because I have really oily skin and my under eyes tend to be very prone to creasing. However, if you are looking for a little bit more of a heavy duty version than the original setting powder, I think the Super Matte Setting Silk is a great option. Once again, I love that Root is doing this glass packaging that's refillable. It costs a smidge more, but to me, it's honestly worth that little bit of extra price. And then also when you're done with the product, you can very easily refill it. I really am loving these new products that Root is coming out with, and I just find it very exciting and kind of has reinvigorated my love for Root. Like I said, I'm contemplating picking up the fall Root box. If you're interested in me doing that, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know, have you been trying out Root recently? Have you been picking up some of these new products? Let us know all of that in the comment section down below. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.